Hey everybody, Double G here with Jay, aka the Great Fowler. We are celebrating. Actually, we're going to talk about what we're celebrating here in a second. But Jay, what's going on, man?
Whoa. That's the fucking intro.
That's the intro.
Wait, dude, I pulled off. I think I'm the only person who could have pulled off AEW and WWE main eventers, and I don't get like an intro song. Like you couldn't get Mikey Ruckus or Rancid to record something.
I mean, maybe, but then we would get kicked off of YouTube for copyright or something.
All right, then let's do this. I'm ready.
Okay, so first off, how are you doing? Because everyone always wants to know how you're doing.
Well, thanks. I'm doing good, but I have to say something at the beginning because it'll help me financially. You have a mutual friend of mine, a friend with me named John Quinn.
Yes.
You know John Quinn, right?
I know John Quinn very well.
John Quinn said if I keep mentioning his name, which is John Quinn, he'll donate towards me. So right now, John Quinn owes me 5 donations. Thank you, John Quinn. It's 6.
Okay. So to be honest, I see John Quinn is part of like the Meltzer hangout to watch wrestling now. That's how in tune John Quinn is with the Meltzer.
He's all intertwined with like our whole group. Yeah. But John's been great. John's a big supporter of mine, and he'll be part of the end video. But I'm doing okay. I'm sure a lot of people have no idea what's going on, but I almost passed on Tuesday. Since then, I've done absolutely nothing but like live like a veal. I just sat in my bedroom, or I'll sit in my chair. I'll eat and sleep. I feel a lot better. I was supposed to be released from the hospital on Thursday, but I signed myself out Wednesday because I get a lot better sleep. But spirit and mind kicks butt. Body, it's the way it's always going to be for me with my heart condition. But I do want to say something. The first time we did this podcast was almost 2 years ago to this date. And I busted your balls. Like, who are you? You're Dave's friend. What do you got a podcast for? Look at you now. You're like the king of podcasting.
I mean, just because they ask me to host these things because I can get them up technically doesn't mean like that's why they asked me to do this stuff.
Nah, brother, you're good at this thing, man. You're nibbling at Brian Alvarez's heels, buddy. You're that good.
Okay, so you know what's funny is so there was a few years back now. It maybe even longer than I remember. But Brian was in town. I think it was it may have been the New Japan Cow Palace show or something. So whatever that time frame was, he needed a ride to I think his wife's family or something lives out here. So I drove him, and we were just talking about podcasting, and I was like, I'm thinking about like really getting into it a little bit more. And he's like, well, if you do, you really need to be honest with yourself, because the second you get in, you're going to spend a lot of money because you're going to make a ton of mistakes in the equipment. And B, you're just going to want to do it a lot. So you have to make sure you have the time. And like no truer words have been spoken. It's become a big part of not only of what I do for F4W, but I also have, my own little network, Fike Media. And I also do stuff for Bay Area sports. So it's a lot of fun. And I get to do a show with my son, as you saw.
That's really cool.
So one thing I just want to mention, Jay is on a speakerphone. We tried to connect through his computer, but there was something going on. So you may hear a slight echo once every couple of minutes just because of that. So hopefully it's not too bad. But if it is bad, let me know in the chat and we'll try and fix it up. But okay, so what are we here to do? We're here to celebrate you. What is the let's explain to folks, because maybe we have a few folks here checking this out who aren't aware of the origin story of what happened to you. So quickly, why don't you kind of bring people back to what the 3 years means?
Yeah, absolutely. Because in a little bit, we're bringing on the writer of an article, so that'll tie up a lot of the loose ends. But 3 years ago on January 16th, I was told by the hospital administration and my doctors to call who I needed to call. So I saw my sister and my best friend at that moment, and kind of said my goodbyes. And I was in ICU, and the doctor came in, and I was up for probably about 130 hours at this point straight because I couldn't sleep because it just hurt too much to breathe. And I saw this guy out of the corner of my eye, and I asked him, "Am I going to die?" He turned around and goes, "We're not going to let you." At that moment, everything changed. As goofy as it sounds, I thought I would not that I was resigned to dying, not that I wanted to die, but I was kind of resigned in my mind. I said goodbye. I said my piece with everything to myself. And when he said that, I go, if he's going to do that, then I better do that. And then next morning, I was at ICU. My condition is I have atrial fibrillation, which is known as AFib. Basically, on a bad day, 8 to 10% of my heart is working correctly. On a good day, I might go to 20, 22. For instance, when to give it a comparison, a well-known comparison, Triple H was down to like 12, 14, and now he's in his 40s. So I was kind of given a dire, what do you call that? Diagnosis, basically. I thought 3 years ago I'd last 3 years. 2 years ago, we did the 1 year anniversary and we were celebrating that, and 2 more years went by. To the people who do follow me, I'm kind of old news in a lot of ways. And I don't mean that as a negative. I mean this in a positive. People are going to hear that one thing about the article that came out on me and this podcast and the celebrities and people like yourself who are just awesome human beings, you can turn negatives into a positive. So in the 2 years since the last time we did a podcast, oh Jay, I get it. I'm not the new sick person on Twitter anymore. But what I did was I took the love and the respect that people gave me and I turned it into networking for others. And every day that goes by, I get more friends, more people involved. You'll see a few of the high-end people in this broadcast, like Cody and Kenny. There's others who wanted to be involved, but we just couldn't work out. Some mutual friends of yours. And it's just been an incredible fucking experience. While my health is horrendous, I can't walk an eighth of a mile without stopping. Mentally, I have never been in a better place in my life. So while financially shit area, we talked about this being a semi-fundraiser. No. That's going to bring up negativity. This is going to be positive. We're going to be talking about love. We're going to be talking about respect. We're going to be talking about how awesome this community can be. If somebody is to help me out, go to my website. You see it on the bubble. You see it at the bottom. This isn't going to be a pitch to donate to me. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about how awesome this community is. Some great people. And if you're out there listening and you're in the chat, say hello. I can't see the chat, but Garrett could. And we're just going to show people how positive this place can be.
Yeah, and I'll throw up if people have questions or if they have comments. I'll be throwing them up sparingly here. Okay, so before we bring on RD, because RD is the author of the great piece that went up, wrestling.
Okay, Garrett, before you do that, I have a question for you since you're very close with Dave.
Sure.
Am I eligible for Booker of the Year next year?
Because
I have Cody and Kenny on one podcast. That's not just like reuniting the elite. I'm also have a WWE and an AEW on the same podcast. You know that's like pretty much illegal, right?
And just to show, what this is about. I can only remember Sean Ross Sapp being on this channel once. As far as I can remember, that was when Andrew Zarian and I brought him with Denise on We're Live Pal. So, because we're bringing Sean back on this channel. So that's how special this show is.
I am the forbidden podcast in more ways than one.
Absolutely. Okay, so RD, the author of the Good Guys, Wrestling Industry, Megastar Strap, Altruistic Rocket to Gravely Ill Man's Limited Second Chance at Life. We're going to bring him on in a second. But first, we are going to play a video from somebody everybody knows here who wants to wish Jay a happy third here.
The great Fowler. A man named after one of the greatest moments in the history of the Brian and Vinny show. A man who, for a little while there, maybe a day or two, almost managed to bring the wrestling internet together. A man who, years ago, was suffering a myriad of health problems. And so I made some sort of bet, because I knew, great Fowler, that you were going to live so long that we'd both forget whatever it was. At least I have. So anyway, I'm very glad that you're getting this this recognition here today. Very glad that things are going as well as can be expected. And I am here to wish you the best, a long and prosperous future of having fun, causing trouble, and occasionally bringing that internet together again. So all the best to you, Fowler. And I'll talk to you again after a while.
All right, so the guy who runs the show here, you got him to come on and send you a video.
Could I explain what that bet was? Because it's kind of interesting.
Yes, go for it.
Okay, so I obviously I'm in financial, I'm in the financial hell. So I wasn't a subscriber. I couldn't afford it. I was struggling to pay my bills. I wasn't paying my bills. So Brian comped me a year subscription. And I told him, I said, listen, you didn't have to do that. Thanks. And he goes, don't worry about it. You'll be alive next year and you can pay. So that was the bet. It's been 2 years later and I'm still not paying. So Brian, you got to re-up. Brian, you got to re-up me in March again, buddy. Okay.
Yeah. And so just, for people who kind of wonder how long you've been with this community, you were DMing me when I first started recording with Dave, like saying like, hey, is the audio coming up soon? I got to go. I forgot, why because we were going late. So for you, it was like early in the morning. And that was like in the beginning.
At like 5 o'clock in the morning for like the audio. And we did this in the first part. Do you remember that I like unfollowed you because you pissed me off?
Yeah.
Okay.
You said that I was being a dick to you, and so you unfollowed me. And then I was like, yeah, where did he go? Like he doesn't DM me anymore. And then you told me the story. I was curt with you about Dave.
Yeah, you weren't being a dick. Now, if you were a dick, I would have blocked you. I just unfollowed you. But it's funny now. I consider you actually one of my closest friends online, so it's really cool. So you want to bring RD on and
bring him on?
Oh wait! Before we do, tell them who's coming up, so they have something to look forward to.
Yeah, so we will have videos from the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, and this is post Royal Rumble. This isn't like something from months and months ago. This is very recent, as you will see. Like I mentioned, the great Sean Ross Sapp. We will play a video from him, and he's got a nice little inside joke story that you may talk about after his video. We do have Dave Meltzer. He is short but to the point in his video. He's not gonna take up much time here. And then we also have Kenny Omega, who is one of my favorite people to talk to in this business because he's so thoughtful. And then at the end, we have a bunch of people who are very important to you who we will play a video at the end, including somebody who I saw in the chat, KG.
KG is the best. And KG and a few of the people that are at the end, and they were in the article we're about to discuss now. That's a segue, baby.
All right, let's bring them on. RD, what is up?
Not much, guys. How's it going?
What's up, RD? How you doing, brother?
That was a brilliant segue.
So I'm going to share. I'm going to share RD's article here in the chat in case anybody hasn't read it. There we go. John Quinn, JQ, baby. So Jay, why don't you set up the article here? Okay. Obviously, RD put it all together, but it's your story. It's what you wanted to come out of this. You kind of explained this in the beginning, but why don't you set up what this article was about?
Well, basically, I'll set up who he is. RD was somebody, I don't even know why, but we just started talking on Twitter, and he was trying to break into wrestling media. And one of the people he was working with, which, we're going to keep positive, I'm not going to mention him, was probably the lowest rung of that. And no, it's not Ringside News, who now took over that mantle. And I told him, I said, you're better than that. You're a good writer. You should rethink things. And he really is a top line writer. And he kind of phased himself out of that. And he decided he just wanted to write about positive things moving forward in the industry. He goes, could we do an article? I can get it on newsbreak.com, which gets you out there, and it'll be about the altruistic side of everything. And I said, if we're going to do an article like that, then yes. I just didn't want another article about sick guy goes to wrestling shows. I wanted it to be how to turn negatives into positives, and I wanted to talk about people like Cody. I wanted to talk about people like Edge, Mox, Tony Khan, Kenny Omega, Dave, Sean, and everybody else that has helped my journey and helped show people how much positivity can be in this community. And RD, during this time, poor guy, worked his butt off for that article. We had a lot of tribulations with it being taken down. We had reasons. And the guy put in so much time doing this article. The article is about a 30-minute read. It was about an hour and a half before I had him edit it down. That's how much this guy cared about doing the right thing. RD, you tell your side.
Thanks, buddy. Yeah, that was it. I mean, I had a good 3 pages about Dave Meltzer on the Donahue just to explain to the people who he was, as if they didn't know already. Basically, yeah, just like Jay said, I was trying to break into wrestling journalism. Just the 2 things I love most in the world is wrestling and writing. So I figured I would try my hand at that. And I answered a ad that said, who will take anybody, basically. And the guy was a real POS, but I was able to get on there and put my story out. And Jay took it upon himself to tell me how, affecting my story was, and that I should definitely seek other avenues of employment. So then cut to 3 years later, I'm looking for just some positives to write about. And I wanted to write about Jay for a long time. He turned me down a couple of times, but I just wanted to get his story out there because it's so important for everyone, for anyone. You don't have to like wrestling to be inspired.
In a second, I just want to explain the reason I turned you down was mainly because it wasn't presented as the piece you wound up writing. And if nobody saw it, you can link to it from my greatfowler.com website. It has everything's on there. I didn't want just an article about, sick guy goes to wrestling shows. When he came up with the idea of we'll talk about the good that has come from my situation being public, that's what made me interested in doing this. I've gotten a lot of hype. A lot of people know who I am. I don't care about Twitter followers. I don't care about fame. I don't care about everybody knowing me. Let that be for other people out there. I care about a story and the good people out there. And it's not a lie when I say this community, and I mean this from the bottom of my well-worn heart, has kept me alive. And when he said, that's the story I want to tell, I'm like, let's tell it. And I think, well, Garrett, you saw the article. Do you think it comes across that way?
Yeah, I thought it was awesome because now, like you said, it is long. So there isn't that opportunity that you see in a lot of pieces where you're like, oh, wow, like what the previous version to what it was. Like they cut out a lot of really great stuff. I'm sure you did still have to cut out some great stuff, but I thought what the output was really the story. And you started out or really early in the piece with the Mox quote of the good guys. And like that kind of sets the whole thing off, right? With that one quote. And it just from there, it was just like, okay, like, I got to sit here and read this thing because, it is valuable and I got to share this thing because, what you guys did with that piece was, I thought was really, really special.
Well, the Mox thing happened that way because, well, look, I mean, we're going to out you. You're friends with John as well, as I am. And, he's well, right now I'm feeling that way because he didn't cut me a video. But
no, I like John a lot, but, he is also professional. He's going to,
No, I got it. I'm just having fun. But he was really the first major person to pay attention to me. And he doesn't want a lot of the credit for doing that with not just me and other people. And I told RD that off the record, but I also, so he came up with the idea of using that quote about the good guys. And I go, that's completely RD's writing brilliance, man. doing that. So it worked because I wanted Mox at the beginning of the story, but I couldn't figure out how because a lot of what he's done for me was private and people don't know.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
You know, and he wants it to stay that way. But, you know, I owe the man a lot, and that was RD's brilliance to start off with that. And it kind of began the tone of wrestling has a lot of good guys in it, you know, and that's, you know, I mean, you know, from Tony to Mox to Kevin Gill to you guys to people who just are on Twitter and followers who every I have this one girl, it's me every, I would say 5 out of 7 days a week. How are you doing? And she keeps apologizing. I hope I'm not driving you crazy. I'm like, you are. How could I get mad at you? Get mad at you. You know, it's the sweetest thing in the world. This community is so great. And that article profiled how there's other people out there that can use that help who might not be I am, and we try to focus on them as well.
Here's a question for both of you. And RD, you can actually answer first. Now, the people who are watching this probably know that Dave and I did an interview with Adam Cole yesterday. Now, I don't say that to put the interview over. I say that because before the camera even started recording, we were just kind of talking about how, you know, the just wrestling in of itself is a positive thing, but the fan bases can sometimes, you know, for whatever reason, just split down the middle, and you're either for this company and against this company or whatever, and it kind of makes it a little bit of a negative experience. So knowing that hardcore, passionate fandom can be a little tribal, like, how did you go into this piece knowing that there is this side of wrestling fandom, a lot of it on Twitter, where it's just negative, right? There's just a lot of negativity going on.
Well, I think we dodged that by fully explaining what Jay's situation was first, before we got into who was involved, who was, you know, hopefully we made you care about Jay the human being first. And then we got into, you know, Cody helps, Kenny helps, you know, all these people start to help. And at that point, I feel like if you can find a way to get mad about that, or be, you know, then obviously everyone knows what I'm going to say about it then. So I don't need to say it, but I think that's how we kind of got around that.
And also, I think you mentioned Adam Cole. Adam Cole's in the article.
Yeah.
Adam and Kenny has Adam. There's somebody who's at the end of this piece, hopefully in English, they might not be watching live, had an 8-year-old daughter, and he posted on Twitter that she was fighting cancer, and that she, you know, that she loves talking wrestling with him. So I contacted, and I'm not doing this to put myself over. I'm doing this to put over Adam and Kenny. I contacted this guy privately, and I said, "Is she an AEW fan?" And she goes, "Oh my God, yeah, she loves him." I go, "Does she like Kenny Omega?" She goes, "She loves him." So I contacted Kenny, and I said, "Kenny, here's the story. So we do something." And he goes, "Can you give me a day?" And there's a reason he asked for that, and I'll tell that story in a bit. And I said, "Sure." And he goes, "Good, because in about a day, I'm going to be seeing Adam Cole, and I'll have Adam cut a video." And that video has been all over the internet, and it's Kenny and Adam in a recording studio telling this little girl who's fought cancer and survived how her, and they hope to see her at AEW shows. So it even grew into, I have never talked to Adam Cole. I don't know if Adam Cole even knows I exist, but he knows some guy named Jay had a friend who had a daughter. And Adam Cole's like, "Sure, I will go and do this." So that tie-in was perfect. And the other thing that I said I'll bring up about what happened in the past with Kenny, I got to know Kenny and Cody because I was open about a suicide attempt that I had in the early 90s, which RD covered, and I was fine on that. I wanted people to know that as strong as I seem now, not everybody, large majority of the people go through that. And somebody's contacted me who saw the tweet, and it was a 20-something-year-old, I don't know the official terminology, don't PC me, people, but he acted a lot younger. He was like a man-child, for lack of a better way. I'm sorry if that offends it. And he tried to commit suicide, and she just wanted to know why. So I spoke with her, and I put out, not about me, and can anybody help me help this kid, and send signed stuff. Cody and Kenny and Mox were the 3 who responded. Well, I knew John already. And they were going to put a care package together, and by the time they were going to put it together at AEW, the kid passed away. So now Kenny immediately, he's like, do I have time? Because if not, he'll do it at that moment. And that's what an incredible type of person Kenny is, as well as Cody and John. There's somebody in the chat right now, Charlene. Say hello, Charlene. She was a big Moxley fan, and during the pandemic, I asked John if he could send her an autograph 8x10. And in the pandemic, John went, in Henderson, Nevada. Say that now because he doesn't live there, and like waited online, like with the 6 feet space to send her this freaking picture. It was just so funny. He goes, "Why did I ever agree to do this?" But that's the type of people that are friendly with me in this community in there. So, so Charlene, say hello, and I hope you still got that picture. It'll be worth something.
Yeah, Charlene's a really cool follow on Twitter too. Yeah. All right, so I guess to end this part of the show, RD, I wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about if you got any other projects coming on, if you're gonna revisit the article with Jay or anything else, because I know that there's a good opportunity for you to kind of talk about your work a little bit.
Yeah, I'd absolutely love to revisit the article with Jay. Just a year down the road or something like that, just to sort of see what's been up since then. And I'm always looking for awesome, positivity laced, altruistic sort of stories to tell. So if you have any ideas, feel free to DM me. I'm my name on Twitter at RD Levisay. And the one thing about talking about, his motto used to be simply "Don't be a prick."
Yes. Still my motto.
It still is one of his mottos. And if you examine everybody that's in the article, everybody that's in the chat right now, everybody that interacts with him on a daily basis, there's one thing that
there better not be no pricks in the chat. I'll go in there and I'll start kicking ass. Hey, Kevin Gill, kick people out of the chat if you can. Good.
So anyway, basically, it's a great motto to follow, and you can just follow me, and I'll post my stuff on Twitter as it goes. But this isn't really about me. I just am happy that Jay is getting even more recognition, because I mean the guy really exemplifies how you should live your life.
Thank you, brother.
He has every reason to be sad, angry, and frustrated, but he chooses not to be, at least outwardly. And that speaks volumes about how you should live your life, in my opinion. And that's why I thought he was worthy of the article. I think that's why he's worthy of this podcast and worthy of following and trying to emulate. So those are the words I think I want to go out on.
hey, really appreciate it.
Hey, I just say don't be a prick, and it kind of covered all of that. But, yeah.
No, I really appreciate you joining us, though. This was I told Jay when we started. I said we got to get RD on the show because it was really awesome. So thanks RD.
Thank you.
Thanks, brother.
Okay, so
he's I just want to say this now without he's going to hear Lynch. Sweetheart of a guy, and I'm really glad we were able to shine some light on him because he's a very talented writer and a good-hearted dude.
No, yeah, the piece was great, and hopefully you guys can do something else that'll be a blast, I think. Okay, so you and I talked about an order of how we want to present these videos. Producer Rob is in the chat making fun of your phone, by the way.
Well, he gave me the phone, so of course that's why. Yeah,
right. Exactly. All right, so we're gonna play the next video here. I'm not even gonna introduce it.
No introduction needed.
All right, let's go.
This is the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. Jay also told me I should add the winner of the 2023 Royal Rumble, biggest Royal Rumble of all time. So I added that in there. I am just sending some love to Jay, to the great Fowler, but also want to let people know as we are at the 3-year anniversary approaching, or just in the ballpark of the 3-year anniversary of when we almost lost him, and how he's taken such a setback, such tragedy, turned it into triumph, and just continued to help people. I mean, really, what a mark of a man and a good human is the ability to reach down and pull others up, know when you need to reach up and be pulled up, and just, I don't even remember how we met, but it don't matter. He's Nightmare fam, and I hope I'm in his fam. What a wonderful human being. Take a look at all the things he's done, philanthropic and charity-wise, and all the things he's going to continue to do. Very special. And again, 3 years ago, we didn't know if that would be possible, and now it's possible, and he's doing all he can to help others and make his setbacks leaps forward, but also helping others with their setbacks. And he was just sending them all the love in the world. I hope you guys follow him. I hope you follow his journey. My man Jay, have a good one, and all of you out there, follow what he's doing. It's nothing but love. Love.
Wow.
So
hold on. I'm not crying. You all.
Your phone is starting to echo a little bit more. I don't know if I changed the setting or something.
No, I didn't do anything. I just leaned forward to hear Cody, so I'll step back.
Okay, I muted you just for a second because I wanted to ask you a question, and I'll bring you right back, because I think the muting comes from when I speak and your thing is getting overloaded here. But okay, here's a question. So I know you're not going to put it over as much as you probably should, but I think for the people watching to see the guy who is going to main event WrestleMania this year alongside Roman Reigns, to take time out of his busy schedule to record a video for our little show here, that just shows how much he absolutely cares about you, dude. Like, I hope that you understand that, and I hope that you know that, you know, that is true love. Like, that is not, you know, some you know, if I see you, I'll say what's up kind of relationship. And I'm going to unmute you now so you can chat.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for that. Cause I wouldn't have said that about all this. I would say it about Cody, and I have said about him. He's become a friend. I have, you know, I mean, I'm not going over his house on Christmas or anything like that, but like, we text a lot, and we text constantly. And like, I'll text him, like I texted him about his return, and he texts me back. I get a few people can't be good about that stuff too. Cody is just legitimately one of the nicest people. And Cody's, to give a little background, Cody asked me in detail what my story was, because he heard different versions of it. And when I told him the story, he goes, "That's amazing." He goes, "I'd like to make you part of AEW community." Now, this was about 13 months ago, actually. This was December of 2021. And he goes, "We'd like to get you more involved, because you're really good at these things, and you should be doing more." And he connected me with Amanda Yuba, who's an absolute delight. And then everything's happened with Cody, you know, where he left AEW and all of that craziness, which I was kind of in the air for during this period of time. Through that, you know, he debuts at WrestleMania, and we're supposed to hang out when WWE was coming into town, and then he gets injured. But we remained constant throughout. He'd let me know on his injuries, and he'd always be there in case anybody needed him. There was a guy, I couldn't get in touch with Amanda. There was a guy in bad shape. I don't want to give out his name, but he was just very depressed, and I wasn't sure if he was suicidal. And I asked him where he lived, and I go, "Is AEW coming into town here?" He goes, "Yeah, like maybe in 2 weeks." And I didn't have a way to contact Amanda, so I contacted Cody. And Cody, while he was he was actually in the WWE main eventing house shows. He contacted, and a pay-per-view, Hell in the Cell, he contacted AEW, and he goes, "Let's hook up this guy that Jay knows." That's the type of person he is. My sister had a 10th anniversary. I go, you know, "She likes you and Brandy on Roads to the Top. Could you put her over?" He goes, "Let me go out to my car and record, because my kids make a lot of noise." That's the type of person he is. And everything you said about my position and his position and being friends, because we're both good. And there's so many people in this industry that do it. Cody does it to an extreme that very few would, but there's so many people who are just good people that I care. Like X-Pac, who I don't know, never talked to. He read my story and he's up, hey man, how you doing? Kurt Angle did that. Dana White called me one time while I was in ICU. And these are people who, your eyes has got really big. He called me once in the ICU and made sure I was watching their pay-per-view that night. And he said that I make Matt Serra sound like he's not even from New York. I thought that was, and it's just fun. Now, I have Dana White's home phone number, his cell phone number. I mean, have I contacted him? No. I mean, not everything turns into a friendship. Cody, Kenny, Mox, I'll throw Edge in there as well. I've kind of turned into friendship. And then there's just a lot of good people. Just they respect good people doing good things. And the key word in that article was altruism. And so many people in this industry have it. And more people need to focus on that. People focus on the trolls because they make the loudest noise. Fuck the trolls. And if you're a troll, fuck you. We're going to pay attention to the good people. And that's what I hope people get out of this podcast. If you want to learn more about my journey, there's a big article. There's this podcast. There's another podcast we did. And my whole website has everything that's happened in the past 3 years. You can contact me. You can help me. You can read it. You can have somebody else who might be in need contact me. We're all in this thing together. And as long as you're not a prick, we're going to get along fine.
Okay, before we get to the next video, I just want you to quickly talk about kind of your relationship with the people who were watching videos of, like, how it started, like who did they start reaching out to you, like, or did they read about you somewhere? You mentioned Cody wanted to come to you about the story, but how did that work with everybody else? And then we're going to play the Sean Ross Sapp video.
Okay, well, why don't I tie it into Sean real quick? Sean and I don't know, 3.5 years. It was before I got sick. We didn't exactly have a good exchange online. Sean's fiery, and back then I was more fiery than I am now when I got sick. Now I just call people buffoons and block them and move on. Sean and I had a lot of mutual friends, and after a while, I unmuted him because I don't think I ever had him blocked, and I don't know what he had for me. And I was like, wow, this guy's doing really good work. And my mutual friends with Sean were telling him good things about me and vice versa. And then one day, Sean and I had a conversation about Dave privately, and it was very positive. I can get into what the issues were, but they're old and it's dumb and it's stupid. It's Twitter bullshit. And then Sean just became a good guy, and through him, I met a lot of other people. Somebody who calls me her fellow medical and Jesse. A lot of people.
We'll see Jesse. A video from her later.
Yeah, she's in the end. And we just became part of a circle of friends that was outside of my other circle, which was Dave and Brian, and we can get into that when Dave's video plays. So when the article came about, RD asked me, he goes, well, we can get Dave and stuff about it. He goes, what about asking Sean? And I said, I don't really know Sean that good, but I'll ask him. Before I was done with the sentence, he responded, yeah, anything you need, man, I love you. And we became closer friends and tighter friends from that. It's all from being out there. My story's out there. Enough people have seen it. A lot of good people have found me and figured me out, and they know who I am. Cody told me that he was backstage the night I went to AEW, and he goes, the great Fowler's here. And he goes, like, people coming up to him backstage, and Tony Khan's like, oh, I heard you got the great Fowler tickets. Is he okay? And he's like, dude, who the hell are you? And what's so great about you? And who did you foul? You know what I mean? He had no clue about any of this. So it's just good people finding good people out there, man. And it's so easy to make friends in this community if you're not a prick. I'm glad I got reminded of my slogan. That needs to be a T-shirt if PWTs ever considers me popular enough.
All right, let's play Sean's video here. Really solid, great reporter from Fightful.com, Sean Ross Sapp.
Hey, Jay, it's Sean Ross Sapp. Want to send you my best, man. You know I love you. I always look at you as a great example of positivity, and I really admire how much you fight and the type of attitude that you keep despite all the things that you've overcome. And I want to say this. I don't drink non-alcoholic beer or alcoholic beer or anything, but if I had to have one person go all around the state to get non-alcoholic beer, it would be you, my friend. And I think you know why. Jay, always thinking of you, buddy.
Okay, can you explain, or do you want to explain what that little inside story was about?
I am dying to fucking explain that story. Are you kidding me?
Go
I almost made that the first video instead of Brian, just so I can get it. We have a mutual friend who's very famous for drinking non-alcoholic beer, right?
Yes.
And his name's John. So John was coming into Atlantic to do GCW, him and Nick Gage too. And it was belt first retirement, all that. So I get a text about 2:15 in the afternoon, you know, and I'm going to do his voice because you coming? That's all in the text. Like, yeah, but it would be great to see you. Blah blah blah. No text back. Find Athletics, and I'll PayPal you. Now, what Athletics are? That's the brand of non-alcohol drinks. So I'm like, okay, you know, I can do that. And then he texts me back. Your PayPal doesn't work. I've changed my PayPal since like we initially. I go, don't worry about it. I don't want anything done enough for me. And he goes, as many as you can buy. So I hang, I put the phone down and I'm like, how the fuck am I going to get non-alcoholic beer, especially one brand and one type that he likes in Atlantic City on like 2 hours notice? So I'm calling up every beer hall that I can find, going, do you have non-alcoholic? Click. Hello? Call the next one. Do you have non-alcoholic beer? Who the fuck drinks that? Click. Then I finally found this place, and the guy goes, I think so. I go, yeah, they need to be athletic. And he goes, what needs to be athletic? I go, it needs to be athletic. That needs to be the type of beer. That's the type of beer that prima donna drinks. I have to go with athletic beer. And he goes, hold on. He goes, we ordered the Audix packs about 6 months. I go, do you have any left? He goes, we got every one of them left. He goes, nobody buys this shit.
Oh.
So I rush. I take an Uber. I get them. I buy them at beer price, at a beer hall price. So it's not that I get them. Then I have to Uber. I run him over to him before he gets on stage because it took forever to find this beer hall. I get him the beers. I can't stand up. There was no seating. So I come back for his main event. Thank God the guys at the door know me by now. So I come back in and I see him as he's walking through the curtain. He goes, and he's all bloody. And so he goes, hey. And then he texts me, where are you? Come backstage. So I came backstage and we kind of like goofed on each other about arguing over about how I didn't want to take any money. And now I'm mad that he didn't pay me enough money. So it was like an inside thing. And Sean was in on this the whole time because I was at a GCW show while there was a WWE pay-per-view going on. So he couldn't watch both. So I was letting him know. So I knew. So I said, yeah. He goes, did he get the beer? Did you get the money for it? It was just a funny thing that like, I was like, Sean, you can't like this, but I said, it's a funny story. Like this whole night was my whole day was based around a guy who could barely walk, going all over Atlantic City to try to find one brand of non-alcoholic beer. But I did. So
it's hilarious. I have a quick Moxley story, and I've told this on my podcast. If you listen to my podcast with John LaRocca, you can kind of zone out here. But so this was before John Moxley was drinking the non-alcoholic beer, but John's a giant MMA fan, and he and I did a few podcasts back in the day during the pandemic about the UFC and some of the shows and such. And so he told this story one time on a show that I did with him about Proper 12, which is Conor McGregor's Irish whiskey. And he said he was at the airport. He asked the airport bartender, he's like, anyone drink Proper 12? And bartender looked at him and said, yeah, one time, meaning they don't go back for more. So the John's stories about this stuff are hilarious. Okay, let's talk about why you chose to go the positivity route in dealing with not only with your situation, but in spreading that love and that message to people around you.
Actually, this will be is Dave up next?
Dave is up next.
This will tie you perfectly into Dave. I had maybe 80 followers, maybe 103, somewhere in that area. I really didn't care much about Twitter. I had Twitter so I can get news, and part of that news was Dave and the Wrestling Observer. I didn't follow wrestlers. I didn't follow celebrities. I wasn't trying to mac pretty girls because they had a cute avatar on there. It was basically just a form of news. And Dave and I would talk in DM a lot, and once in a while in an email just because he thought my takes were really good on the industry. I posted that I went into ICU and I didn't know I was coming out, and Dave was the first person to, he might have been the first person to respond. Obviously the first person of any note, because I didn't know anybody else. I didn't know John. I didn't know Kenny, Cody, Tony, Brian, you, anybody at that time. I had like 3 people I talked to online. And Dave wrote,
yeah, plus you blocked me, so of course you couldn't see me.
We this just happened again right after this video, man. I'm using you and moving on, baby. Okay, maybe Sean could hook me up with somebody at Fightful now.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, it's all related. So Dave wrote, and that got me a lot of attention. And Dave contacted me privately, and then Brian contacted me privately through with a DM. And I never talked to Brian in my life, never ever. Like, I mean, I love Brian. I think Brian's hysterical. But my thing was the Observer. So I talked to Dave about the Observer. And then Brian contacted me. Is there anything you need? I hear you're this great guy. And then from there, people like producer Rob, who's probably still in the chat. And then you eventually. And I saw how many people cared who shouldn't have even give a shit. And that made me go, you know what? I should be dead. I'm not dead. Let me just thank these people. I mean, they made a horrible time better. And it just grew from that. It wasn't a game plan that I had. I just went with people out there are fucking amazing if you allow them to be. Was everybody amazing? No. I've gotten trolled. I got people contacting government agencies about me because they don't like Dave, and I stuck up with Dave. And, like somebody created a Twitter account, the Dead Fowler instead of the Great Fowler, a countdown to when I was going to die. None of that shit is important. It's the good people. It drives me crazy, Gigi. When I see like a fan or keeping in a professional wrestling, AEW or WWE, and they'll have 95% positives, hundreds and thousands of positive comments, and they only focus on the 5 negative ones. It drives me crazy. People would kill for the type of love and fandom they got. I don't have anything remotely near that. I got like 2,100 followers, which is, I'm cool with. I'm on private most of the time. And I just want good quality people around me. And if you project yourself with positivity, you'll get it back. I've proven that. And I don't mean I proved that to other people. I proved that to myself. I was like, these people are so awesome. Why am I going to be a dick back? I'm alive. I shouldn't be alive. I should be dead. I was homeless, and now I'm not in a good financial situation. But somehow every month, on that last day, people come through for me if I'm honest about my situation. There are amazing people out there, and they need to be acknowledged, not the fucking nitwits and the fucking buffoons who try to take over Twitter. Let them do their thing. Let them talk. Let them argue with each other. Let them come up with the Dead Fowler and the whoever says what's and all these people. Let them form their own little clique in the corner. Good people do some good shit. And if somebody out there needs a friend, I have a lot going to reach me and I'll do what I can. No, I don't mean that's like I'm going to get a Cody for you. Tell him that I said, I mean, there are people going to try to take advantage of that. I don't know. If your situation's legit, I'll do my best to help you, and hopefully other people can. There's too many good people out there not to be this way, Gigi. And Dave was the start of all of that.
I'm waiting for someone on Raw or SmackDown or AEW who is a development or enhancement talent to come up to have a name like Greg Fowler or something. That's what I'm waiting for.
Wait a minute. Oh, here's a story I'm going to get in trouble for. You don't remember about 4 months ago, Rip Fowler, R.I.P.?
No.
They have a guy in NXT called Rip Fowler. And I was told by somebody in the industry, this isn't me, R.I.P. Fowler.
What the hell?
And I know. Yeah, I know. And it was inside, and it was somebody in the know said that it was that, because there's been a few things. This is going to sound egotistical, but I got to cover it now. When I went to WWE, I got Edge got me front row center to WWE, and somebody in WWE knew I was this big AEW guy. So they used me in an ad, front row center with Becky, because Becky was standing in front of me, just as to kind of have fun. Now, I think stuff like that is hysterical. They didn't say the great Fowler's here, because, you know, I mean, nobody's going to care. But it's, you know, they have that tongue-in-cheek thing. But it was like coming soon, Rick Fowler. So I had some fun with it. I don't think, you know, they're not sitting around like, you know, making me out to be a big deal or anything like that. But it's just kind of funny to put the two names together. R.I.P. Fowler was trademarked. Somebody goes, yeah, that's kind of an inside joke. So wow. You're shaking your head.
It's kind of unbelievable to me. I can't imagine. But okay. So let's play Dave's video here. I'll set it up. We were watching Royal Rumble at Dave's house, and I was like, hey, let's do the video. And he's like, can we wait until it's over? And I know that that's kind of bad news, because then Dave's got to run upstairs and check his email and get on the phone and do that. So I was like, no, that's going to be bad.
Also, wait, I'm not on mute, right? I'm talking.
No,
right?
You're good.
Don't forget, we were going to try to get Dave to do a live run it.
Yes. I was going to try to do that too.
That's what I'm saying, which to me would have been even probably more crazy to pull off.
Well, that would have been bad, because what I didn't realize when we set this date, I didn't know that we were going to be running up heads up against NXT. There's a national Warriors Dallas game that's on too. The Fedor fight is on CBS in like 5 minutes, or at least the broadcast starts. So this is actually a pretty busy day. And of all the days for Brian Alvarez to be out of town and for his internet to not work, and I'm like, oh, you need me to help do Wrestling Observer Radio tonight? That's a tough night. So after this, I gotta watch NXT. I gotta watch the Fedor thing. I watched SmackDown and Rampage already, so I am subbing for Brian tonight. But this is a pretty busy night, so I'm glad we didn't rely on him to come in and do a run in, and that I was able to record it. All right, let's play the video here.
Hey Jay, it's really wonderful that they're doing the show with you, and congratulations on 3 years. And every day is a blessing, and you're just a great friend, and I really appreciate your friendship for all of these years.
All right, like we said, I'm gonna mute you for a second, Jay. Like we said, it was short and sweet. I was lucky to get that, because Dave was very much in work mode, but he wanted to do that for Jay. So Jay, since you know Dave fairly well, do you have any like Dave stories where, and this is kind of going to play into something else, where Dave tells you something and you go, I'm not exactly sure if he was supposed to tell that to me. And now I have this little bit of information, and I'm dying to tell somebody, but if I tell somebody, then maybe it gets Dave. Like, have you ever had a moment like that with Dave?
Yes, and I got one that I can tell, but I want to tell you something. After your last little speech, I just got a DM from somebody at Bellator, and they said that they're angry that we're going up against them. That's how big this podcast is. Okay, right now, Shawn Michaels is cursing us out, because if you were on Twitter earlier, it was all about us, baby. It wasn't about NXT tonight.
Yes.
Yeah. Right? All right. So with Dave's story, the DM about 1 a.m. my time on a Monday night into Tuesday, going, how's Cody doing? And it's from Dave. I go, I don't know. He goes, because everybody in WWE thinks he's coming. And I go, really? So he goes, he hasn't said nothing to you? And I said, well, I mean, people knew at this time. Well, I don't know if it was known that Cody was working without a contract publicly yet, but I knew it, and Dave knew it, and I'm sure some other people knew it. So I said, no, I don't know. So he's like, yeah. He goes, everybody thinks like he's a definite. And I go, wow. So I'm like, all right, what do I do with this info? I'm not going to leave on he's going to say something on Wrestling Observer Live in 2 hours. As much fun it'll be to do those hints that I do. I didn't even think of those hints yet. So I text Cody real quick, and I go, you're going to wake up to a hell of a lot of news about you, buddy. You know what I mean? And by the time he woke up, he knew exactly what I was talking about, because that's when the news broke. And then I think Shawn, a week later, broke that he's been working on a contract, which is something that I knew. And then there was about 2 months worth of back and forth between me and Dave, not about like inside info, just about they think this person thinks that. And then one day there was, God, somebody's going to get mad at me at this one, but who gives a shit? There was a report out about Cody, so I contacted Cody to congratulate him, and Cody told me the report wasn't true, and it wasn't from Dave, it wasn't from Brian, it wasn't from Sean. And he goes, "Tell me what the stories are. You're in this more than pretty much anybody else I know." So I told him, and he's like, "Nope, possibly, maybe that one's good." You know, and it was kind of funny that I put the tweet, I put the text up, but I blocked Cody's name, and it's like, what are they saying about me today? So like that was going back and forth. And I just thought it was funny that like you know, this person who was like silent from media for obvious reasons because he was figuring out what he was going to do, and you know, it's just like, what's going on? So I'm like, all right, let me see what Sean said. Let me see what Dave said that I didn't realize. Let me see what other people are saying. And pretty much the people who had everything accurate were Sean and Dave. So that I'll say.
There you go. Okay, so we have 2 more videos to play, and I don't want to push this too long because I know folks got stuff to do. I know, Jay, you're still resting yourself. I don't want to get you too hyped up here.
I'm boring people.
What?
You trying to say I'm boring people? I think I'm kind of fucking entertaining over here.
No, people. I'm watching the chat, man. People are enjoying this. Come on.
I think I got my Paulie Walnuts thing going pretty good. Oh, hey, we entertaining, hey.
But we have a special video here from Kenny, and I wanted to save the Kenny one for a little bit later in the show because I've always found Kenny to be so thoughtful, and I know that you know, his video was going to be thoughtful as well. We're going to play the Kenny video. Jay and I will come back and set up the last video because the last video is several minutes long. KG, who's in the chat, Kevin Gill, he's in it. Jesse is in it. Even John Quinn, whose name you saw in RD's video there. So let's play the Kenny video here, and then we'll come back, chat a little bit, and then we'll play the last one.
Hey everyone, Kenny Omega here, and I was asked just for our friend Jay, and for those of you who only know him by his Twitter handle, that is the Great Fowler. Now Jay is, of course, he's had a rough go about it, both financially and in concerns to his health. And throughout all of that, he has maintained such incredible positivity and has faced all of his hardships with such incredible courage. And it's never let him get him down, and it's never caused him to act out in any sort of negative way. And he supported his passion in professional wrestling throughout it all. And he supported people like me and others like me who do what they do in the world of professional wrestling as a profession. And it's really uplifting. And there could never be enough people like Jay in this world. And I just want to say that from the bottom of my heart, and I'm sure many others feel the same way, that we really do appreciate you, and you are the best kind of fan and incredible person for doing all that you do. And I have no doubt in my mind that your positivity and your passion throughout it all is what's helped you come this far. And I have no doubt that, you know, the passion and positivity from fans like you are what help us go the extra mile as well. So it's kind of a two-way street, and for that, we are thankful. So thank you, Jay, and wish you all the best.
All right, so that, again, and I hope you, and I know you understand it, but to have someone who is as thoughtful as Kenny Omega, someone who has lived through tons of adversity himself, just dealing with what he had to deal with injury-wise and you know, being on top of the wrestling industry like he is. Like, that is just tremendous stuff, dude. Like, what do you think about when you see a video like that?
It'd be funny because while that was playing, I made a note that I wrote something down real quick to make sure I said this at the end. Take me out of this. Take who I like, who I support out of this. if you watch a video like what Kenny did and Cody did, and let's just keep it them video because they're, I don't even mean all the phenomenal people that are going to be at the end, and yourself and RD and Dave and Brian. Just Cody's tone and Kenny's tone. If you can't see how it's better just to be a good guy in this industry than to be a prick and to be a troll, if I don't get how somebody could possibly watch Kenny and Cody and not come away going, this industry has some amazing people on it. I know it's easy because they're talking about me, but take me out of this. And just your reaction yourself watching that, I want other people to see how good this industry is. I already know. I've gotten the benefits. People have helped me. TK, Moxley, Kenny, Cody, John Quinn. There's other people in that are going to be in the videos later. They helped me when I was legitimately on my way to being homeless. That's just not a financial thing I'm saying. It's a mental thing. It's like, we know how hard you work. We know how hard you try to do right by people. We know how every time you get a step ahead, you get 2 steps back. These are people who care about people. And they're in the wrestling industry, which is an industry of people who are cutthroat. So when I see something like that, I am just so glad I lived long enough to see this. Because I grew up in different industries. I was in the music industry for a while, and it's cutthroat. People think wrestling is cutthroat. You've never been in the music industry. Legitimately, I can ask Kenny for a favor, and he'll do it. Kenny, you know this, before we went on, he said, have a great podcast. Good luck. I mean, he doesn't, and people are like, oh, I never see him interacting with you on Twitter. Yeah, because we DM 10 times a week. What is he going to like? A picture of the pizza I ate at the Hard Rock? Who gives a shit? You know what I mean? And it's just, they're real people involved in a real situation with a person they consider real. Come over to our side. I wanted to say this, and the girl Jessie that we talked about a few times, Buckeye, Jessie the Buckeye, I believe is a Twitter name, and we became good friends because she's going through a hard time as well. And she puts herself out there. She has like 70,000 followers. So she has like 140 times more or whatever, 35 times more than I got. And she gets tons of trolls all the time. It took me a bit, but we talk constantly about fuck them. She's a pretty girl who's out there to stop begging for money. Your husband should pay for this, all that. Who cares about those comments? They're not going to change your position. Focus on the good people out there. And we become such good friends that after you learn everything about my story, learn about her story. Because now I'm in a position where, I'm in financial hell. If I can get myself Gigi, one day, you know what I like to do? Buy something that costs $100 that I don't need. You know what I mean? And there's people out there, but my thing is rent, food, living expenses, because I don't drive Ubers. I have turned down more stuff, free stuff. I was supposed to go to Newark for Full Gear, and I was going to be backstage, and I was going to do press for Dave because Dave wasn't there. I couldn't make it because of my health. 2 weeks later, Moxley, Kenny, Amanda, and the rest of the AEW were 2 miles away from my house. I couldn't go because of my health. So when people say, oh, you're a scam artist, what am I scamming? I don't even go to free. I had a free flight to Jacksonville during the pandemic. I couldn't go because I can't get on a flight. So I don't want to say who, a mutual friend of both of us was going to pay me to go to All Out 2 years ago. I couldn't go. Listen to the fucks. Focus on the good. And every time I see Kenny and Cody and people like that and yourself, Kevin Gill and Jesse and all the people at the end, it really makes me feel amazing about the human beings that are out there, because I'm a stranger to all you people. Maybe I'm not now, but I still am in a lot of ways. And before we go to the video, I just want to thank you, brother. You put a lot into this. Of course, it should have happened 3 weeks ago, but you kept pushing it back. It was supposed to be the anniversary of my almost dying. And I was like, well, and then what happened? I almost died again. So there you go.
Dude.
How guilty would you have felt if I died on Tuesday?
Yeah.
That would have been a lot of fun. GG, I love you to death. I want to say something about the people at the end. You're going to see a video of people who are part of the article that's on newsbreak.com. I can't give you a URL because it's one of those 8,000, but you can get it off the greatfowler.com. There are people who contributed to that article. There are people who are friends of mine. And there's two people who nobody has an idea who they are. Well, one, because everybody knows John Quinn, who have helped me tremendously financially. There's one video that's upside down, and I need to explain it.
Okay, wait 1 second. Give me 1 second. Before we even get there, I just kind of, you know, we wanted to hit on where do you know, what's the future look like? Like what, like, you know, what do you want to do? You know, even as far as health, like I would love to do this again this time next year, if possible.
Well, when I have 2 words for you, and they're not suck it. Wake up. That's all I want to do, brother. Every day when I wake up, and I say this a lot online, if you follow me, you've seen it. If you're starting to follow me now, you'll see it in the future. Every breath and every heartbeat to me is a miracle. How hard it is, the inner workings that heartbeat, nevertheless continual. Every time your heart beats, my heart has to work 10 times for that beat. And so I'm constantly exhausted. I don't want to travel. I can't travel. I'm too old to fall in love and start a family and stuff with my bad health. I just want to have some good quality time with some good quality people. Go out once in a while. There are people who take care of me locally in Atlantic City when 90% of the time, you know, I'm going out, and they'll just include me, you know, in comps because everybody and their mother gets from Atlantic City. There's a lot of phenomenal people. My future could end in 20 minutes. That might sound sad, but it's also a great fucking way to live, buddy. Because I'm taking every minute and enjoying it. Every seat that other people. I wish I could complain about some of the things I see people complaining about online. But I get it. They didn't go through what I did. So do I hope to be around in the year? Damn fucking straight, buddy. And we're going to do this. And hopefully I'll be just as fucking goofy and as loud as I was. But I want to thank you. Like I said, kidding around, you put kidding around aside, you put a lot of effort into this. All the people that helped promote this, the people put together the video, and we could do easily 5 hours on everything, and not even just me, on all the stories and the people that were helped because of my story being out there. Look at the good people, prick, come into the Fowler side, and you know, have some fun and get Fowler sized, whatever that means. There's another T-shirt I don't have, and I want to thank you, and I want to mention what happened to Christy because it's too funny. Can I? Yeah.
So mention the upside down video, but do you have a list of all the people? Because we'll just end the podcast after the video is done. It's about 6 minutes long. Do you have a list of all those folks?
No, definitely. No, we're not coming back. I'm not looking at it's Kevin Gill. It's the writer from you put me on the Rob Wilkins. Who both contributed to the article. It's Crew Romania, who I'm going to bring up last. I just want to mention him. It's Michael, who had the 8-year-old daughter who had cancer that Kenny and help me. Your guest last night.
Adam Cole.
Adam Cole did a video for. And there's some other, and Jesse's on there just because she's like, we're so intertwined. And there's John Quinn, who now I said his name like sometimes, so he owes me a lot of money on donations.
Over.
Yeah, and then oh god, I'm forgetting the guy's last name, but he's on there. I think he's the last one. He's a big Buffalo Bill fan. Like he doesn't have his name on his Twitter. Damn it, I feel so. Tom, and he's on there as well. Last year when I needed to. Let me see the best way. When I needed to re-up my lease, he helped me out tremendously. And the guy I never even talked with somebody who followed my story from afar. But the Christy Dragon thing is Christy is a guy who grew up in Romania. He moved to the States so he could be closer to American professional wrestling about 4 years ago. How we learned to speak English, what an amazing story, was watching Cody Rhodes' videos. And the funny story with him is he would go to his English teacher and she'd go, "You're such a nice guy. Why are you always yelling and screaming?" He thought that's how Americans, like everything he was in a promo. So like he learned English, like, which way is the directions? You know what I mean? Yeah. He cut a pro teacher and a teacher in the class. And one day she sat him down. She goes, "You're so nice, but when you talk American, you like yell and scream." And he goes, "Oh, I learned from professional wrestlers." So he told me the story, and I go, I got to tell Cody. And this was when Cody was leaving AEW, and then he got injured. Cody and Christy never got a chance to meet. So I said, "Cody," I go, "You know, it's a shame." He goes, "Want me to cut a video for him?" I go, "That's Cody." I go, "Dude, Cody cut a video personally for Christy, which said that Cody goes, 'I hear you're a big fan of mine. I'm a bigger fan.'" And Christy, from that point, was just like, "I can't believe this happened to me. Even if I never meet Cody, this might have been even better." So Christy goes, "I want to record a video for you." So I go, "Okay." Christy's from Romania, and I guess in Romania, they do everything upside down. I'm good to leave on that.
All right. Hey, man. Thanks. I mean, you put the whole thing together. I just had to press some buttons here and talk to you. So you did a fantastic job with this. Thanks to RD. Thanks to all the people who are in the chat watching this. KG in the chat, producer Rob, Lee, everybody. So what we're gonna do?
The chat nice or
chat's great. Chat's fantastic. I think there's like one person I saw that was kind of being goofy, but that was it.
Cool. That's
and so we're gonna play the video. It's about 6 minutes long. Then we'll shut down the show. The audio, if anybody wants it, will be up on patreon.com/fightgamemedia. I'm gonna put it up for free. I'll send it to Jay. Jay can link it out to everywhere. And so we'll do it there. On the free Patreon, so people can listen to it if they want. I mean, I think
and if you ever need information, my website, thegreatfowler.com, everything will be linked on there as well as if you want to get in touch with me or if you win the lotto.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so again, last video here. This will end the show. All the people that Jay mentioned will be in this video, and we will play that now.
Love you all.
What up, though? It's your boy KG, Kevin Gill, the voice of independent wrestling, and I'm honored to be a infinitesimal part of the Great Fowler's triumphant journey in defiance of doctors, in defiance of the experts, through the love and support and outreach of the Wrestling Observer community and a lot of the greatest people in our industry today all came together to support Jay. Jay, as is well documented, uses all his friendships and connections to help everyone he can throughout our wrestling community. Perspective is everything. We only get one time to live. We get one life to live, one time for your mind. You know what I mean? One life, one chance. And when Jay was given a death sentence, Jay turned that into a life sentence. And he brought a community that in some dark reaches of the internet can be toxic or malcontent or whatever. But the story of the Great Fowler, the inspiration of the Great Fowler brought us all here together today to remember that perspective is everything. And consider the struggles our friend Jay has endured in his triumph. When you're feeling down, when you feel like you can't take it anymore, think of what the Great Fowler would do. We love you, Jay. So glad you're here.
Hey, Jay. It's Jesse the Buckeye, Jesse David. I just wanted to say thank you for always being so amazing. Thank you for always being there for me, my fellow medical anomaly. You can't tell, I'm in the hospital. How on brand for us. On the cardiac unit, ironically, I think they just kind of ran out of room. But yeah, it was like, you know, some higher power was like, hey, let's let you think of Jay while you're in the hospital. But I just want to say thank you for always being an inspiration and for truly showing the world that positivity really does win and the good guys always win. And thank you for being one of the good guys and for being such an inspiration for the good guys. You're amazing. I love you so much. And congratulations on this amazing podcast and that great article. You are so inspiring.
Hey there, my name is Christy. I'm a big wrestling fan and a huge Jay fan from Romania. Now I live in New York City, and Jay and I have been friends for 1.5 years, in which he showed me a true example of resilience and kindness. And he really showed me that the Twitter wrestling community can actually do a lot of amazing things together. Our story started just like me seeing him online and me trying to show support to him. But in turn, he then made some of the most memorable wrestling moments of my entire life. My favorite one being when he tried so hard to get me to meet Cody Rhodes, my favorite wrestler of all time. And it all turned out to be like mission impossible, but then Jay came up with this amazing idea and Cody did a video for me, and that was the happiest wrestling moment of my life. So I'm really grateful for Jay, really grateful to be inspired by him. So thank you, Jay.
The American dream lives on. And speaking of living on, 3 years ago, Jay Fowler found some hard times, Daddy. But we go now to the present, and 3 years later, and Jay's doing some great, amazing things. He's an inspiration to a lot of people, and I'm proud to call him my friend. And speaking of friends, Cody Rhodes, your friend, let him know that I give you permission anytime to use the bionic elbow, if you will. Jay, it's Micro Monday. I just want to say the world is a much better place with you in it. And God knows I love you.
Jay, the great Fowler, John Quinn here. Just want to reach out and congratulate you, thank you, and let you know how appreciative I am of our friendship over the past few years. You know, 3 years back, I didn't know who you were, but thanks to this fantastic community we're all part of, I've gotten to know your story and hopefully become a friend of yours, which has been absolutely fantastic. You know, I was thinking about it. Most folks in your spot would take on a victim mentality. Woe is me, life's tough. Not you. What you've done is not just fighting for yourself, but you've fought for so many other people. And while you've gone through your battles with such courage and dignity, I think you've inspired so many other people to do the same. You are truly the definition of paying it forward, of doing the right thing, and of caring for others. So have a fantastic podcast. I'll cut my message short. I don't want to bump Kenny, Cody, anyone else who might follow me. But congratulations again. Talk to you soon, buddy. Cheers.
Hi, my name is Michael and I'm the dad of a fabulous little monster, Sky. She's 9 years old and has been kicking cancer's ass for over 5 years, and she grabs each day by the bowl, and that's how we met Jay. He reached out and asked Kenny and Adam Cole, baby, to do a short video for her, and she's still smiling even today. And that's what Jay is all about, spreading positivity, even when things seem impossible. And that's why so many of us fight for Fowler. Top guy.
Hey, my name is Rob Wilkins. I'm with Fightful.com. Jay, I want to say thank you for letting me be a part of this article. And I also want to say thank you for you being who you are, because day in and day out, I get to see nothing but positivity out of you. And that goes a long ways, because I'm a huge mental health advocate, as you know, and just seeing the positivity every day helps people like me. It really does. So thank you, my friend. And being a friend of yours is even a greater pleasure. So thank you.
All right, this is Tom Mays, also known as Random Bills Fan on Twitter. Just giving some credit out here to my man Jay. You know, Jay's one of the great people I've met on social media. There's a lot of negative out there on what happens in social media, but you know what? It's what you make of it. And it's people like Jay and his positive outlook and the way he keeps inspiring people despite his prognosis and his health issues. It's something a lot of people can learn from, and people should learn from it and take it as a way to use social media as a positive and as a way to make our society better. So, hey, people, listen to Jay, learn from him, and the world will be a better place.